the field. But if you don't accept that field, then that's why people keep going back, and they keep going back. Because some people, I can hear it, even when we were talking, I could hear them saying, if I could just get to Joe, I'll be healed. And there's some truth to that, because it's kind of like in the Bible with Jesus, if I can just touch his garment, then I'll be healed. And so I'm real particular about turning our power over, and so are they. They say, we're here to take our power back, or better yet, to remember our power, that we are healers right here and right now, and he has a place that he can get us in meditation. And somebody came up, and this kid, he was about 30. He came up, and he was so upset. He said, something wrong with me, man. I've just, I can't meditate past 5 minutes. And that's when he said, every moment that you stay in there is a victory. And every moment that you sat, and I've been working that in meditation, when you can sit there and say, no, you're not leaving this time. You're not going to go take care of your whole day, Patrick. You're going to stay right here and right now in this divine moment, in this vortex. Because what will happen is you want to wander away, and that's what his frustration was. And he said, every meditation you do is a victory. Every time you call yourself back home, even if it's only for 30 seconds, you have reclaimed yourself and reclaimed who you are. So we use this one on it too. We sit our yesterdays on our tomorrows. That's where it's all. If we take our yesterdays and we bring them into today.
Well, he gives that example, and if you've heard any of his talks, where he talks about you get up in the morning,
right?
You wake up, you're thinking about your problems from yesterday, right? You're going and doing the same exact thing. You're checking your cell phone, you're checking your texts, you're going and brushing your teeth, you're doing this, you're doing that. It takes you through this it's depressing when you think about it. Now every time when I wake up in the morning, I'm going, okay, I feed my cats. I walk over here, I turn the coffee on. I'm thinking, it's where he's saying the first thing you should do is get into your meditation before you even start your day. Get it into it. And he talks about, if he healed himself of a spinal injury that he should have been in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. So he's not talking from somebody that doesn't know what he's talking about. So anyway, it's all good.
I like this, the sweet spot of the present moment.
That's the whole
Isn't
thing.
that delicious when you think about it?
Yeah. He gets very excited about things.
I thought.
Now, I did not take that picture. Or did I? I might have. No, I didn't, because I was further up front. That was one of Elon's pictures. That's what I mean. He went back. I was up there.
This bitter moment will last many, many, many lifetimes.
Okay, so
he's looking at Rita going, listen, this is where I want to stand, hon.
So you wrote that quote, we must come out of the bleachers and into the field.
I didn't read it from him.
Yeah.
He said, we must come out of the bleachers and into the field, or as Renee Brown would say, we have to come out of the arena. I mean, we have to get into the arena and not just sit on the sidelines. And that's what he's saying. We have to come out of the bleachers and into the field. We say, oh, I love this. We say it feels right, and we're like, yeah, how we all, I've got my divine connection right now, and this feels really good. And he's saying, no, it feels comfortable. So sometimes we're heading back to the part where this feels really comfortable, so it must be divine. No, it means that it's comfortable, and we have to leave the uncomfortability to move into something else, or to go into the uncomfortable. So I don't think it's 100%, but I did love that idea where people go, it feels really right. I'm thinking, what if it feels comfortable? We must decide what thoughts we want to fire. Teach your body the new. We must teach. I've been doing a visualization of unplugging this in my meditation, and I could actually feel it unplugging, and then I'm going, what do you want to plug into? And then I can't get much further than that, so I just allow it to plug back into the actual circuit that I want to experience.
So, yeah, we actually did a 50-minute meditation with him, heart minute, 50-minute meditation. Most of his meditations are 50 minutes to an hour long. Anyway,
I love that.
Okay, I'm going to keep going.
No, go back for a second.
What?
I don't want to study history. I want to make history. How powerful is that? Change your energy, change
Yeah.
it. Okay.
And then the people complain about, I don't have time to do it and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, don't you love yourself enough to invest in yourself? And because it does take time. And the reason a lot of people don't do these things is because they don't want to take the time to do it. And so it is an investment of time. Break the habit of being. That was just him. I like that picture. I think I actually took that picture. Oh, no, I didn't. I couldn't have. That's one of Elon's because I was sitting too far front. Okay. Where am I? Am I there? I don't know where I am.
She can't even think straight when his picture comes up on the. I mean,
Is that me? No, I don't.
no, go, Rita.
Might be. I don't know. Anyway. Okay.
So we have wallpaper in our home. It's Joe Dispenza. I'm just gonna. Okay. Oh yeah, this is great.
The age of the age of information. In the age of information, ignorance is a choice. Guys, it's all
We
like
have
we don't
so
even have to
much
go to
to
one of
ch-
these things. It's all over the internet, YouTube. It's free. We can go on there. We can do meditations. We can learn about this wonderful discoveries that are being made. So it is ignorance is a choice. So we don't.
Well, especially
have,
with money, where people say, I can't really afford it, and I'm thinking, oh my God, there's so much freedom. There's so much free stuff. Anything I want to think of, like, what about Brene Brown? What's she up to? Brene Brown, Mwah. Every single. Not that I had to mention Brene Brown, but she did do a Super Soul Sunday last week.
all right.
Oh, could this be?
I hate to say it. Well, yeah, I know. I put that picture because she was the only other one we got a picture.
I had to
with.
do a selfie. That's why it
No,
looks like that.
she was my favorite, and I would love to get her to come here. I'm going to work on. We're going to work on it because
she's-
does anybody not know who she is? Okay, it's okay if you don't. All right, I'm
Yeah.
going to tell you. And you can go, oh my God, this woman died. And she was riddled with cancer, tumors from one side of her body to another, and she was on death's door. She was ready to go, and she went into the and had this whole healing with her father when she was in a coma, and then she decided to come back. She didn't want to come back because she looked at her body and she saw all the cancer and everything, and she didn't want to come back, but she knew she had to come back because she had things that she had to do. And she came back, and her body was healed. Like within a few weeks, all the tumors were gone, and she had a complete healing. So she spends her whole life going around telling this story. She told it to us. She has her book.
She was in.
Dying to Be
Who
Me.
found her was Wayne
Wayne
Dyer.
Dyer.
And so Wayne found her as he found many. And what's interesting about her story that started her on this is the fact that everyone said, I mean, you can imagine if you're going to come back into your body, you have an opportunity, you're in the field, and then all of a sudden you're looking and you say, oh my God, I have got 13 tumors on every part of my body. I don't want to go back. But I forgot if it's quoted, but it's something like you have work to do.
It's in there
Yeah,
somewhere.
you have work to do, and you have to go back in. And can you imagine in 3 weeks? And she said, thank God she had the paperwork that proved that she was
Yeah.
that sick, because they wanted to dispel the idea that because there would be no way that she could.
They
3 weeks
said
later,
it was her brain that caused all that stuff to happen to her when she was in the coma, and that it was probably just a spontaneous remission that happens sometimes.
but
It's quite a
But
spontaneous.
she showed us her hospital report, which was very cute on the PowerPoint. It was like, no chance, everything's shutting down. It's at the end, blah, 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 blah. Every little thing was detailed. So it's a shame to me, not from a negative necessarily, but it's a shame that we have to work so hard at proving healing when we don't have any problems proving every disease known to humanity, and how that's okay. I don't have to prove that, but I do have to prove it when I go into the field and heal myself. It's interesting to me. But that's changing because we're the new generation.
Okay, so everything she said was just because she had all these discoveries when she died and when she came back, and she said every thought and decision she ever made in her life came from fear.
Mm-hmm.
She was afraid of food. She was afraid of microwaves. She was afraid of dairy. She was afraid of cancer. Her friend had cancer and she was her caregiver. She was afraid she was going to get it. She just lived her whole life in fear. So she really actually said that's basically why she concocted the disease. Plus she was living an unhappy life up to that point, she had no forgiveness for her family. She was just living
She
in
had the
fear.
Indian culture.
Yeah, she had the Indian
culture.
culture that was, there were some things going on there that, for her that she kind of renounced her family because she didn't want to have an arranged marriage and whole bunches of stuff. And so she says you must be consciously focused on love or you are filled with fear. If you do not choose your life, others will choose it for you, which was happening for her. And she actually ran away from her wedding. She had a lot of conflicts.
Because they were arranged marriages.
And they told her
in
things
India.
like, you're never going to have a man want you anymore. You can't, she lived in that culture, if there's anything you fear, flip it to what you want to see. So she's really big on love, on love, self-love. If you're living in fear, you block your intuition. She's Mother Earth. Be yourself fearlessly and your purpose will unfold. And then she did this energy in the hands exercise. Do we have time to do it? No?
Sure, why not?
Okay, she did this thing.
So,
Go ahead, you explain it.
Because I was like a little boy.
I'll hold the mic.
I can do it till I do it. I was like a little boy because I thought, we're going to play an energy game, and I'm thinking, my little mind is going, oh, is that real? But here's what she did, which is great.
I'll hold the mic.
So, and you probably some have done it. So just keep rubbing your hands. And then I remember, and you start waiting until it gets really, really hot. Ooh, I can feel it right now. My whole body's vibrating. Then separate it. And then move one of your hands away and move it back in. It will be in the other hand. You can actually feel the energy. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? All of a sudden, I'm like this. It's getting more. I go away. And then I was like a little boy. I was going. And all of a sudden, my hand was just like, I go, look what I could. And I thought, is this that new? And it's still vibrating, still vibrating, still vibrating, both sides. Take it away. You can go right in the middle, right in the middle. Amazing. We're energy, everybody. So is this new to, a lot of us have done this. But just think if when we were stressed, we went, instead of reacting, if we said, I don't know what to do, and you could remember who you are, as energy. Wow. Anyway.
Yeah, that's the quote, Patrick. She was about to return to her body that was riddled with cancer, and she heard a voice, go back and heal instantly and live your life fearlessly. That was the message she got, that it wasn't her time to go. Our container of consciousness must be filled. Flashlight only lights where she did that exercise with the flashlight.
Right.
Like, when you point a flashlight in the dark, it's only going to light the thing you're pointing at. So in other words, what you focus on grows. I mean, if you don't, you might not see the rest of what's in the dark. You're seeing what you're looking at.
Nothing that for me and their studies and everything that we have been, nothing was really like so brand new. But I saw it new and I felt it new. Does that make sense? That it wasn't that they were saying like, love yourself. I'm the king of it. I'm like, that's what we do here. Love, heart.
Yeah, she's all love yourself,
right.
God. Love
Because
yourself.
our container will be filled. It will empty, but it will be filled. And it's either going to be filled with love or fear.
The more we love ourselves, the healthier we are. Loving your whole self is not doing stuff for yourself. I love that. Like we think, we'll go get a massage, we'll do this. Well, that's not necessarily loving yourself. Self-love.
It's good to.
Well, I mean,
but please
not.
don't stop doing that.
Don't stop doing it. But she's trying to say it's not about that. Self-love equals getting information from your inner world. When you don't love yourself, you're not expressing the divine. And she did a heart meditation with us, a self-love meditation. And this lady her name is Geraldine Glass. She is a woman who plays crystal bowls. Oh my God, her crystal bowls are like $5,000 a piece. Crystal bowls. But she's an opera singer, and she lost her son, I think to suicide or something. I don't know. Suicide. And she changed her whole career. She started playing bowls and singing with her bowls and doing all this healing work. And so she played while Anita was doing the meditation, the self-love meditation, which I think is available online. Her self-love meditation. Self-love is being on your own side. And then she said, we try to control our fear-based thoughts. Like we fear them and we try to control them. And she said, stop it. That's not self-loving to try to control your thoughts and say they're bad and all of that. To accept them, and when you accept them, she said, it will bring you to more peace and more gratitude and more joy. And every time you criticize yourself, you're stopping your soul's journey. And this was just from her experience of what she was like before she got sick and what she learned from her NDE.
What was
right?
great about her is that she was on day 3, and so we had been in our heads for 2 solid days. So it was great with her because she took us back to our heart so that we could,
Yeah.
but this is my favorite part. So Rita
Yeah.
got carried away. She really loves Anita. We have like 900
I know,
slides on
all the
Anita.
slides.
Okay.
Because everything she said was so powerful. When you
Okay.
have trouble receiving, it depletes your energy.
This
She
was
talked a lot about empathy. People that are
huge.
empaths, she talked a lot because she was an empath. That's what she just did, took care of other people and took on their problems and everything. Go ahead.
Yeah, this was the part that resonated to me. This idea about serving, this idea about activism, and she really got into it, the whole idea of people who will only serve and they don't allow themselves to be served. That is not circulation. That is only one area going out, and it must circulate or it'll get stuck. And I've always believed that. But what she's talking about people who go, there are people, especially with empath, I have to give to, I can't take anything because there's so many people that don't have anything. And she's talking about how that adds to the field the absolute opposite of what you're trying to do when you serve. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't be serving, but why are you serving? Are you serving because we're just all loving beings and we can give to one another because we can? Or are we serving out of lack? And that the world is a really crappy place and you've been handed a raw deal and life's not fair to you. So I'm going to serve you and I'm not going to take anything for myself until everybody gets a piece of pie. And life isn't that way. And because we're all in the same pie. Just as some people want a little bit and some, So she was really, I love this. Activism needs to come from a place of passion. We have activists in this room, people that are very powerful, but it must come from passion, is what she thinks, and I actually agree with, because we cannot solve the problem with the same thing that created it. I cannot have love in the world if I am not loving. I cannot say I'm going to go get those hateful people, and then once the hateful people are gone, then we're going to be all okay because we're the good people. And I'm thinking, no, that makes us sick.
Another thing a lot of them said, I think just about every one of them said, that service is not martyrdom. That's from another century. And I think Joe Dispenza said, people that were passionate had to die, like, Martin Luther King and Jesus and all these people. They said that's from another century because people are afraid to really put themselves out there because of whatever. But that's not the new way of being. We don't have to be martyrs to be passionate and to serve and all of that.
Balance.
So destiny is your soul's intention. I love this. Your
Free-
destiny is your soul's intention. Your free will is to allow you to fulfill your soul's intention. So you always have free will of whether you're going to fulfill your soul's intention or not. So, because we're free beings. Anita, responsibility versus obligation. Take responsibility is empowering and obligation is draining. Take responsibility for your children, but don't treat them as an obligation.
And we're all in this healing business, as it were. And how would you, and this is
the question she asks people when they come to her because she does coaching too and healing stuff.
because
so.
when we do sessions in Science of Mind, and we're doing sessions and people come in, they tell their story and they say what's going on with them. What would happen if we focused on, because it never comes up because you're so busy, right? Working with the dis-ease, whatever it is, finances or physical. But how would you live your life if you had a clean bill of health? What a wonderful thing to bathe in for a moment, to sit there in anything. What if the relationship that you're having that is so horrible, what if you were in the perfect relationship? What would that look like? And you might find out, not the person that's with me. That's what a perfect relationship might look like. I'm not looking at Elizabeth, I'm just... Now, all of a sudden, I realize I hooked eyes with Elizabeth. I'm thinking, oh, honey, I ain't talking about you. Oh, Lord, I got to keep the eyes wandering. Yeah, you have to be very careful where you go. And then people, and then they go, hey, man, people are looking at me now. Do I love myself? You know, I'm the inner child person here. So did I love myself before I got sick? And it's not too late. When we're having any kind of disease to start the loving process right
That's
there.
the healing process. It's not about blaming ourselves for our diseases.
It's not.
It's about loving ourselves. You know, Louise Hay was the perfect person for that, right? That's how she helped all those beautiful, amazing men and gay men during the 80s to heal, was to help them to love themselves.
She realized too, just Louise, even though she wasn't in this one, she realized when I was in LA, she had these, the Louise Hay Hay House, you know, it's Hay House now, but she called it the Hay Ride in those days. And a few gay men started to come, and before you knew it, there was many, many, many. And so they kept saying to her, okay, now we got to get another, you know, something new besides love yourself. And so she tried all these other things, and let's try another book. And then she realized it was only about loving yourself. And so these men and these women, mostly men in those days, these men started to heal because they realized that they had not been cursed by their relationship of wanting to be with the same sex and to wanting to have relationships. And so there wasn't anything, they all wanted her to turn it into something else, and it was just, I love myself the way I am. And that was it. But, you know, we wanted to, well, that's not good marketing. I mean, we got to get another book out of this. Well, I don't know if we can, because this book's pretty successful. I love myself. I'm sorry. I wish it could be more complex for all of you. But that's kind of where she comes from, too. Purpose, she said everybody is a bit about this purpose. And because you think it has to be grand. The purpose has to be big, right?
I mean, I saw my own mother do this. She died really quickly. She was diagnosed with cancer, but she didn't even die from the cancer. But I remember because she just didn't have a purpose anymore. She just was ready. She was done. She was ready. No, it was a good thing. She was ready to go and she wanted to be with her husband. She was just ready. And so I think people sometimes are just ready. And Anita talked about that. They're ready to leave and they leave, or they're not ready to leave and they stay. So, but she believes there's a choice anyway. So anything else on this page?
No.
All right.
No.
I told you I went on and on with her. This was, I think, the meditation. Oh my God, there we are. Oh my God. Okay.
Do you think that they care that we're right
I
here?
just saw that for the first time. I did. There I am with my eyes closed. Okay.
That's so funny. Okay.
Okay, the way to find your purpose. That was during the
Yeah.
meditation. The way to find your purpose is to be yourself, not what everyone else wants you to be.
Everything
How simple
we
is that?
teach.
It isn't that simple,
yeah.
right? For some of us, to be ourselves and not be what everyone else wants us to be. Because sometimes it takes making a decision. And when you are being yourself, the life that is yours unfolds before you. That was a message that we got all the way through it. Like, people always want to know what their purpose is, or they want to know, what the next thing is and stuff. But if you'll just live your life from where you are and be your really true self, it will unfold for you.
I want to talk about Wayne Dyer when he appeared.
It's not. Yeah, it's almost.
do
It's
you have
almost,
it?
It's coming on the next one. It doesn't mean you do not have problems. It means you know what to do. That's the other thing. People think we don't have problems because we start to become enlightened or whatever. We still have problems, but we know what to do with them. Things still happen. We still have issues with relationships and all kinds of things, but we know how to maneuver through them in a loving, beautiful way. So, And then she used, you can talk about the iceberg.
Well, the iceberg metaphor, we've all known that, right? Where the tip is out, but she's talking about the tip is the physical body, that one that's showing, and it's the small part. The bigger part is that's emerged underneath. If you've ever
Sorry for
seen,
the
you know,
typo.
and that's what's rising up. So when that actually rises up from consciousness, then that makes that small body, you will become bigger than your body, as Joe Dispenza would say. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, and this was empathy. You need to have for your friends. Oh, this
That
was
was
all
what we were
about empathy.
discussing.
You need to have your friends feel good so you'll feel good.
I lived my
Ooh.
entire life that way when I was a kid. Just if I had to get all my friends happy first, and then I could go do what I needed to do. And I'm thinking, wow, that's a very heavy load, because guess what? I don't know if you guys have experienced it, but everybody's not happy at the same time. And so when you're waiting for it all, and she was saying this is what made her sick, because she had to have the whole world happy so that she could have her piece of happiness. What
You
else?
attract people who want you to make them feel good.
Mhm.
These are empaths she's talking about. Empaths have trouble receiving. They don't go to others for help. She made us all, disclose whether we were empaths or not. If labels are expanding, they are good. If they shrink you, let them go. And then the healer sees you as
And this
you
is
are.
what we do as practitioners. And I said we do it on Sundays, and I look at you, no matter what it is that you've come here for, I see beyond that, the truth, beyond the physical, beyond the stuff that we think we're going through. My job as a practitioner is not to go in and going, wow, looks like a hell of a bump you got going there. Mine is to go, I'm looking at someone. Mine is to go, when somebody comes in, they go, I'm hurt, I'm feeling, I'm sick. Mine is to say, I see you. No, but I'm going to show you. See, here's the proof. Here's the proof. Here's the x-rays. I'll show you what. Oh, I know that's what, no, I see you. I see the real you. And then the healing, if you can stay there long enough, the healing starts. Because when somebody is looking at you, have you ever gone to, and we've all been guilty of it, we go to the hospital, and we all walk in, and we'll walk, hello, how are you? Water, this, and we're being kind, right? I just went and visited someone the other day. I walked in, and I said, and this was my prayer before I walked in. Let me know exactly how to show up for this person. Let me know how to show up for them. To shut your mouth, maybe, Patrick? To make them laugh? Whatever it is. And you know it wasn't going to be to shut my mouth. So when I walked in, all of a sudden I walked in, I go, look at you. Get out of that bed. Let's go. And they were like, so they were like, yeah, because stop.
I think she's talking about this too in regards to empaths.
Yes.
That if you're really, that you're taking on people's problems instead of seeing them as whole, right? Instead of like empathizing with them. And
because we're not taught. That's why I love Patch Adams. Remember that movie years ago? I love that idea because it's kind of like a funeral or anything else. You walk in and there's a way that you're supposed to be. Ministers, there's a way we're supposed to conduct ourselves. And that's not true.
So this was where we had our Wayne Dyer moment.
Oh, yes.
Wayne Dyer actually came.
Oh, yeah.
Because she has her connection to Wayne Dyer, and she says he's always like playing tricks on her and stuff. And she was ready to go against his idea about ego. And so the lights kind of went down, and she goes, "Oh my God, Wayne, I'm sorry. Okay, well, I'm gonna throw you under the bus right now." And then she goes, "Please let it be okay, because it's free." Blah blah blah. Anyway, and then the lights just went down, and then they came back up, and she said,
But it became funny because they wouldn't stop doing it.
"Yeah, they kept going, and then nobody was doing it."
So she was looking over here, and she was going,
but she has that with him.
And the guys are going, I have no idea what the light guys
Anyway,
I have no idea what's going
she
on.
has a special relationship with Wayne Dyer, and he's always like in her field. But anyway, she had a really beautiful message about ego, because we think ego is egotistical, but what she was saying is that we have to have healthy egos and healthy conscious awareness, that they go together. If you're egotistical, you have no conscious awareness of other people, of other situations, you know, of anything. You're just egotistical. But that's not the same as having a healthy ego and caring about yourself and yeah, caring about yourself. There's a difference. There's a big difference. So she was really big about having the balance between having a healthy ego and also high conscious awareness. And that a lot of us have to we have to work on our egos. We don't care enough about ourselves. We don't
That's the healthy
right,
ego
that's
part.
the health. Yeah, and then she goes, taking on people's problems is so last century. I don't know. I'm telling you, these people were so a matter of fact.
Oh, and she wouldn't let up on it either. She was, and it's so funny because I thought she was going to be a little more reserved, and she was like, "Oh, that's so last century. I don't know why we're still doing it."
So she said, before you go to sleep, this is a really good thing. I use this all the time. Just let it go. Release your problems for resolution and see if you can feel what it's like not to have them. I just turn your problems over to the universe at night when you go to sleep.
Yeah.
Just turn them
Give
over
ourselves a
if you
break.
have problems. Teach your kids to love themselves by loving yourself.
Yep.
And I feel like I did a pretty good job of that with my kids. The dark night of the soul is only possible if you have the tools to maneuver through it, which is kind of that same thing as if something shows up in your life, it's because you have the tools to work through it. And then her mantra is, life is always working out for me. If you strengthen your own energy, you don't need boundaries and no protection, just expansion.
Yeah, they talked about that a lot too, and Rita actually wrote Greg Braden because he said, I've dealt a lot with new thought people, and then we were like, as ministers, we were like, whoa. And he goes, but he was confusing us with new age. Because he goes, yeah, new thought people always putting protective stuff around them. And Rita and I were like, no, I'm just kidding. Because we're new thought, and that means that we're able to have a new thought. We're not putting up the protective, stuff around us. And he kind of was making a little fun. So Rita wrote him the next day and said, just to let you know, I need to define new thought. And I'm glad that we did that, because you throw just stuff out in a crowd of 1,200 people, and you go, yeah, the new thought protects them. They're going to put the energy up. And I go, no, that's not, because we believe this. If you have the energy, you can walk into any place because you don't need your boundaries. But until, what do they call it, training wheels? While we're still on some training wheels, people, sometimes we have to make other decisions to kind of protect ourselves when we walk in. But we're not putting up, force fields when we walk into a door. Yeah, that was my thing. She's going, we're moving on.
Right,
You're the one that had 100 slides on Anita.
I know. I can see their eyes are getting droopy. Okay, what?
Oh, it's midnight Kauai time.
Okay. All right, so
It's 8.
I have to admit that I bought this gentleman's book, Dr. May's book. Has anybody read his work? No. Okay.
Oh, he's wonderful.
I bought his book because he was very difficult to understand.
You would love him,
He had
Gabriella.
yeah, you would love him because
would
he
love
couldn't
him.
because he had a very thick accent, I guess Indian accent. But I'm going to tell you, being in his presence was like being in the presence of a holy man. I mean,
Right.
it was like that kind of feeling when you were with him. But he's a physicist, and they call him renegade scientist, who in recent years has ventured into the domain of the spiritual in an attempt both to interpret the seemingly inexplicable findings of curious experiments and to validate intuitions about the existence of the spiritual dimension of life. So what the bleep do we know he was in? And it was just the fact that he was hard to understand, but he was
It was a shame because I went and read his stuff afterwards, and now I understand why everybody was almost paying him homage when he was walking through the door, because he's so brilliant, but I couldn't understand a word he was saying.
Dr. Joe's,
so it was
one of
very
Dr.
difficult
Joe's
to-
mentors too. I mean, but every time
Oh
you
my
feel,
God.
I love this, every time you feel inspired, it is your quantum self speaking to you.
Ah,
So
Look at
listen
him.
to that quantum
we can sleep
self.
now.
And then consciousness is non-local. It's everywhere, a field of energy that includes everyone. So you can think about anyone or pray for anyone. You don't have to be in the same. That's what we know, like in spiritual mind treatment, that it's, remote healing, whatever you want to call it. You don't have to be with a person because it's not, consciousness is non-local. We communicate without signal because we're one. And then he did this beautiful, amazing meditation that he took us out of our bodies to our higher self. And we actually, for me, I don't know what everybody else experienced, you can actually look down at yourself meditating. It was like really cool. It was like really loving. He was just, like I said, sometimes he was hard to understand, but I'm definitely looking forward to reading his book, and he's obviously one of the giants.
I love this big
physicists.
thing. He says, it's all one. It's all one. It's all one. He said, you guys want all these answers. Just love yourself. What's so hard about that? I don't.
And he's
love,
like he's a brilliant physicist.
Oh my God,
and,
yes.
also, all into reincarnation and all of that too. Let me start by asking you a question. What does consciousness research and quantum physics have in common? I won't keep you puzzling. The answer I'm looking for is one word: transcendence.
Yeah, we must transcend.
We live not only in this space-time imminent world, but also in a world that lies outside of space and time. Call it the transcendent world. I have discovered that reality has two realms: immanent and transcendent.
Mhm.
So it's just like you could just meditate on that, right? I know.
See, that's the effect. That's what I'm saying. That's the effect they had with not understanding him, and everybody's going in these deep trances, and then we're all going. I haven't understood a word he said since he started, and I'm completely going with him, without any.
But it
of
wasn't
the
because of what he was saying; it was because of how he was saying
it's
it.
exactly what
But
he was
sometimes
feeling.
you don't need words, right? Sometimes somebody's presence is just so deep that you feel it. Imminent means within. Imminent, that's the word he used. Imminent, yeah. And then and transcendent is out. That's why, like, sometimes we say God is both imminent, can't even say it, imminent and transcendent. So sometimes it's easier to understand God or spirit, or if we think about it that way, that it's not just in here, it's actually everything, right?
I thought it was a different word, immanent.
Yeah.
Really imminent.
Yeah, imminent.
Is it misspelled? Is that what
Is it
you're saying?
misspelled? Oh,
Yeah.
well, it was misspelled.
Well, let's just get to the point. It's misspelled. Typo. Okay,
Let's
is that
look it
what
up.
we're
Is
talking
there a
about?
word imminent? Okay. Oh, maybe I spelled it wrong. Guys, I was typing a lot. I was typing out of a little
No, I don't think there's
book.
two different words. I think it's just typo.
It
I
might have
know
been a
we had our
typo.
journals. We both
We
typed
have
up
literally
our
managed to
notes.
train a whole generation of students. The idea that everything is material, but the Newtonian worldview that has shaped our understanding for centuries is now giving way to the revelations of quantum physics, which goes beyond materialism to show that consciousness, not matter, is the ground of all being. There you go.
That's what even Bruce was saying too. They just consciousness.
That's why I still don't understand why we're
that's all
still
it is.
teaching our kids the other way, but hey. All right, now, who's
Just-
heard of this guy?
He's,
Okay.
He's a crazy man.
This is the last one, guys. This guy is really out there. This guy is brilliant. 5 years old he started. But he's so connected to the other world, and he's a scientist that has made advances in stem cell research and stem cell surgeries, or whatever they call it, laser. I'll go into it in a minute. And yet he's with the Lemurians, and he's out there. He's just out there, and in there. You can look at his credits. Okay, that's just with some of his credits. Dr. Todd began his research with cells of the immune system. Many procedures were done on AIDS patients to diagnose their lung problems. Observing this dire disease firsthand and the toxic results of early medical treatments, Dr. Todd developed a passion for finding better solutions. Toward the end of his fellowship, he became aware of the benefits of holistic medicine for improving the function of the immune system while building rather than impairing the function of other systems. But he is like the pioneer in laser stem cell stuff. So, and he is having results, but it's not FDA approved. Like, he's healing people of things like Parkinson's, because they can beam the, I don't know how to explain it. They can beam the the stem cell to its location and keep it there. I guess one of the things was it doesn't always stay there.
No, it'll go there,
Yeah,
and then
I'm
it
not-
just
like I said, I'm
then
not
it
a
runs
sci-
away. I mean, the great thing, all of a sudden they learned that the stem will go to the injured part or whatever it needs to be rewired, and then all of a sudden it'll get there, and then go somewhere else. So they couldn't get it contained enough to do the healing. So they used this laser, and he is, don't judge a book by its cover, because the day before we were talking about
Well,
him.
he's very Vincent Price.
He's very Vincent Price. I mean,
It's
he was
funny by
like,
the older
"Hi
people
everyone, I just want to let everybody know." And I go, "Oh," and then I got all
No,
that
you can
stuff.
find him online. Go listen to him.
He was brilliant.
But
And
he's brilliant. I mean, he's just
judge
like,
a book by its
plus he's like doing all this good in the world. I mean, he's just like really okay. And he does this thing called decoding, which is a lot like what I guess it's like Louise Hay too.
And what
like,
we do, it's like if you walk in and you say, "This is, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling
you find
that,"
the
then
part
you
in
go
your
to
body
the
where the
opposite.
disease is.
You go, "Oh my God, it's in the stomach. What is going on there? Let's talk to it. Let's talk to
As
that
soon-
part of the body that's in pain." Because my philosophy is the pain is only a cry to go home, to wellness. That's all pain is about. To let you know I'm in pain, I need to go home, back to wellness. And that's what he said. But let's go back to the stem cell for a second.
It's on
What
the next page.
Oh, is it?
Okay, here it is.
Okay, good.
Okay, laser-guided stem cell therapy. The initial in vitro studies at the National Institute of Health showed a profound ability of the laser to attract stem cells to the beam location. When the stem cell of various sources are injected into the body, the laser gives the instruction to the stem cell to migrate to the
incredible.
intended tissue and adhere to that location.
Right.
Right.
Right. And then what it does is it goes in, but here's the thing, it's so fast.
Right.
Within what,
24
4
hours in severe heart failure, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, and other diseases, the condition improved immediately. Like within, where sometimes people would have to wait months or whatever, or weeks or whatever. This compares favorably to the usual 3 to 6 week required to note benefits after typical stem cell therapies without laser activation and guidance. So anyway, that's his big thing. He does have a clinic somewhere that does this, I think in California.
He has 3
So-
actually, and then also he went to his big thing is about AIDS research as well. That he actually took somebody and used this, and now there's not one part of them that has any of the virus anywhere near them, because they went in and was able to do that. Now, once again, mind, body, spirit, right? You can't do one always without the other. You can maybe get the stem cell to do that, but if this is not programmed and you haven't programmed your change through your own consciousness, then we will return. I believe that, and it shows it too. Yeah, we have to return to it because it's not solidified by body, mind, and spirit.
And then decoding is something they do. It's a therapy of just going in, like we said, and finding where the location is, where it's located in our bodies. Like if we've had severe trauma, let's say somebody has like endometriosis or something, and they find out that they were severely raped or something, and that's what they go in and they decode that whole thing, and the healing takes place and the person's healed. I mean, it's just
His is the the trauma of certain incidences of life, trauma that you go into, and you. That's why the inner child work that I work with, I love so much, is because you can actually ask that part of yourself, that way I call the inner you or whatever, and they'll go, "It's here. Something hurts here." And you're going, "Oh, here. Where is this part of you right now?" And that part of you that I call the inner you, inner child, will tell you exactly. It's right here, but don't tell anybody. It's like that kind of relationship. And this guy is just. It's sad to
Anyway.
me that we can't use it, though. Sometimes. I'm going, wow. There's people I know
that could use
that
it.
could really use
Right.
that right now.
And then on his other half, he's a Lemurian.
Oh yeah.
He leads Lemurian choirs and is into cryon, right? And so he led us in a Lemurian chant. It was really kind of cool.
1,200 of us.
1,200
were doing
of
it.
us.
You could imagine.
No, it's not. I think you can hear it online, not us, but nothing could be recorded.
And he was just, when he was taking us through it, it was just, he was so.
Well, then he brought Geraldine out, the lady with the singing bowls,
Oh,
and
yeah.
had her do one counterparts or something, and one side of the audience did one side and the other day. It was
I mean,
really cool.
his shirt was getting so wet from the sweat from the the heat that was coming up through this work. It's
Anyway,
just
so he's
amazing.
got like, because he believes, I think like a lot of his information comes from other planes. I'll just say that because that's the truth. It's not, he's downloading stuff from other beings, other planes, and he's not afraid to talk about it. And he has results. So we just did that, and then I just got this off the internet. During a meditation class in the summer of 1989, Dr. Todd paired with another student for an exercise. The process was profound, and they took turns, one in the process while the other scribed to record any breakthroughs of awareness, much as in the Jodie Foster movie Contact. The usual anchor points dissolve with the feeling of instant transport to different dimensions of being. You can read more about this on his website, and then I put all these other stuff that he does. Lemurian Choir supplements, he's got a whole supplement thing. I was almost going to buy something for Krishna, but I never, the line was too long.
Krishna's
But,
our cat, by the way.
But he's got, go to his website, he's got different supplements and stuff. But the interesting part, his name is Dr. Todd Ovakites. There it is. Ovakites. All you have to do is go to their websites. All their websites, Dr. Doe. Oh, okay. It's just Dr. Doe. They're just their names.
Her pen broke, is
Like,
what she's trying to
yeah,
say, Rita.
They're just. Oh, I see what you're saying.
She doesn't have anything.
I don't know how to do that. Well, we'll figure it out.
Well, take a bit.
You need a pen? How about taking a pen? Just write down his name.
You will do it. Do you have paper?
Do you have paper?
Yeah, I brought a paper,
Yeah.
and I just started my pen disintegrating.
I'm
That's okay.
sorry. It's okay. You can have that pen. But everybody's like, you're either going to find it under Dr. Todd Ovakites.com or, Dr. Amit is going to, if you put their name in, you'll find them. All right.
And if you put stem cell, Dr. Todd, it'll all come up,
Right. Anyway, that's it. I just wanted you to know we're part of the most important thing about this to me is that there's a community of people that are
She's
rising.
yawning, by
that
the
are
way.
rising. I am not. That are that are rising right now. That are saying enough is enough. We're going to take our power back. We're powerful. And one of the things about Dr. Ovakites, Dr. Todd, was that people were like, well, if it's all mind, what is he doing with his supplements and blah, 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 blah. But it was interesting because they called them training wheels. These are wonderful training wheels because we're not at the point necessarily where we've totally got it together, and we need our training wheels, and it's good that we have it, and it's brilliant. And if they're coming from other beings from other planets that are trying to come in and help us now, I think that's really cool if that's where we're at, right? And I think that our planet can use all the help it could get right now, and if we're open to it and we're available, I can imagine all the wonderful things that we're going to find out about ourselves as we continue down this road. And it's wonderful to know that there's hundreds of thousands of people that are, probably more than that, all over the world. Can you imagine 32 countries represented at this? And this was not a big event. I mean, it was big, and also they're coming to Maui next year. Dr. Bruce, Joe, and
I think the whole gang.
Greg. No, the three of them are coming.
No, Anita's going too, I heard.
Not to Maui. There's
Oh.
only the three of them going to Maui. So look on their websites.
Well, you would know better than I because
If you have the opportunity to go to one of these things, I would say go. It's awesome. So, and if you have any questions from us or anything, we'll be very happy to answer them. But I think we've exhausted you.
Yes, we have. But one thing
I feel exhausted.
I want to throw in something about the physical thing, because this came up a lot during this this idea of that we're making ourselves sick. I really want to address that because we have all had our share of whatever it is in the world of form. I want to repeat it as many times as that anybody will listen. This is about empowerment. This is about the idea that I have the power within myself to heal myself. And yes, I might need some inspiration, I might need some help, I might need some supplements, I might need a pill, I might need you to put your arm underneath mine and help me to walk. But at the end of the day, all of them every single person said we are consciousness, and we are the healer and the healed. And that is what science of mind, that is what I will, because you see, if I believe anything else, and we didn't talk a lot about that, if I believe anything else, then I'm a victim. And how could I be a victim when there are trillions of cells working on my behalf, when there is stuff happening that we don't even have a clue about? And so, Rita, will you read that as a like a little bedtime? Just listen to this.
A little taste of what's happening in your body.
This
and
is
then
beautiful.
Patrick will treat us out. Okay. Triggered by your most recent thought, did you know that suddenly your pancreas and your adrenaline glands are already busy secreting a few new hormones? Like a sudden lightning storm, different areas of your brain just surged with increased electrical current, releasing a mob of neurochemicals that are too numerous to name. Your spleen and your thymus gland sent out a mass email to your immune system to make a few modifications. Several different gastric juices started flowing. Your liver began processing enzymes that were not present moments before. Your heart rate fluctuated. Your lungs altered their stroke volume. The blood flow to your capillaries in your hands and feet changed, all from just thinking one thought. You are that powerful.
So with that power, let us take a moment to just land and go within for just a moment. Our beds will be there when we go. So what I know is that tonight was by divine appointment. And that as I breathe, knowing that that very breath is the breath of life breathing through me as me, and as I know that for myself, I know that for each and every one of us in this room. We appear to be separate, but I know the truth, that we are vibrating at the frequency of the divine as one. And I know that though we live our lives individually, and we are the individualized expression of this power, that this is the moment that the power is recognized, embraced, and returns. And what I know for each and every one of us, that whatever is going on in our own personal experience, our own personal environment that needs any kind of divine love attention has come forth right here and right now. I know that healing isn't something in the future. It isn't something in the past. That wonderful healing energy, that warm, loving, healing energy is breathing through each and every one of us right here and right now. I know that each and every one of us are swimming in the sea of potentiality, and that means that there is nothing standing in the way, that the gates are now open. There is a flow of loving energy that is moving so powerfully through each and every one of us, through this room and beyond this island, beyond this universe. The entire spectrum of thought has now been introduced to everything, seen and unseen. And I say thank you. Oh, thank you for the awareness, for the remembrance of how powerful each and every one of us is. And from that place of oneness, I say thank you again for the opportunity to be this incredible thing called the expression of life. So I know healing. I know absolute healing for each and every one of us in whatever form that takes. And with that, I just simply get out of the way and let it be so, as together we say. And so it is.